record. Hello everyone. I really appreciate you guys being here. I'm happy to be able to share information with you and glad we can do it this way because we can't meet in person. I have a couple peer advisors helping out. Alex and Angelo are going to be available to answer any chat questions you have. So definitely respond in the chat. I don't want you to hold your questions if you have a question, so go ahead and use the chat. And at the end, I'll go over any, common questions that we might have if we have time. And then, of course, you can always email psych advising if you need more one-on-one instead of this big old group, okay? So I really appreciate you guys being here. Feel free to ask questions in the chat, and Alex and Angela will assist you guys. Let's see. I'm going to share my screen. Nope, ignore all this stuff. Don't look at it. Avert your eyes. There we are. Now you can look. Thank you. Okay, so I wanted to share basic degree audit information. Actually, before I do this, there we go. I wanted to show you how to pull up an audit first because that's kind of basic stuff. So I want to make sure we're on the same page with that. So let me get my audit, fake ID, pull it up. And of course, I'm not even logged into my UCF. Okay, so when pulling up an audit, you log into your MyUCF, right? And then there's a few different ways to pull up an audit. You can do it from your student self-service side here, and you can pull it up under student records, but I always just do it from the MyUCF page where you see your class schedule. And I use the other academic drop-down menu because there's a lot of things in your other academic drop-down menu that you're going to want to be familiar with. You guys have a lot more than I do as an advisor. So we're going to press degree audit and press the arrows. Oh, that's right. She doesn't have one. We got to do it this way. What if? And now you guys get to learn how to use the what if tool too. Undergrad. College of Science. That's our college. We're studying psychology. And we are going to just pick the general track for this example student here. That's probably our most popular track is the general one, if not the clinical one. So we'll do the general track. And we'll talk about each of the tracks in case there's anyone in here that might be confused on what track they wanted to do. So here's the audit. This is basically it. Oh, I like that. Come back. Let me see if I can zoom in a little. So in the degree audit, when you pull up the interactive audit this way, you can see it has your information. It's got your track and your bachelor's degree and the term that you started your major in. And in the audit, if you don't press the collapse all or expand all, if you just leave it as it opened, you can actually see what requirements are not satisfied. And that's what you're missing. If you see a requirement in your audit that shows not satisfied, but you're like, hold up a minute, I know I satisfied that, then let us know in advising. Email psych advising, we'll get back to you as soon as we can and say, oh, well, this is why you didn't meet that requirement. Oh, nope, you're right, you did meet it, let's fix your audit. So there could be a reason that it's not satisfied, but you think that it should be. So definitely reach out if that's the case. So that's pretty much just how to pull up an audit. And what I wanted to do was to kind of go over the audit and degree requirements. And I already have a PowerPoint for this with some notes on it to help me remember what kind of notes I wanted to make sure that you all knew about too. I guess I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Erin. I'm an academic advisor for psychology. I've been in the advising center for 10 years, over 10 years now. I've gone through 3 different catalog year changes and 3 different degree audit systems. So it's fun being an advisor. You got to be able to adapt to new stuff. So I am familiar with the degree audit pretty well because we've had this one since 2017 at least. And hopefully this helps you with understanding your degree requirements. I already talked about that. Bam. So the first thing on the degree audit is going to be the general education program courses. Our office actually does not advise on this. We're not supposed to help you with it. Like a lot of the peer advisors did their gen eds with UCF, so they are probably more familiar with it than I am because I transferred to UCF. But the College of Sciences are actually the advisors for the general education program courses. So definitely reach out to them. I don't think their phone is on right now because of the working from home. I think that they do have a constant Zoom that you can log into. So definitely go to their website or just email them if you have questions about your general education program classes. Now your gen ed classes might be already met, especially if you transferred with your AA degree from a Florida college, then that means they're done already. And so that might be why it's already minimized for you on your audit. But if it's not minimized and it's showing that you're missing requirements, then talk to COSIS about what's missing. There are a couple gen eds though that if you didn't transfer with your AA that you do need to meet that's going to meet for psychology. So we can talk about those. So for the general education program, the number 8, the math one, of course, all psych majors need statistics. So that's listed there. And then of course, gen ed number 9, the social foundation, you need psychology. Some students come in with AP credits for psychology, or they took psychology at a school outside of Florida. So the code might be different, or we're still waiting on your transcripts to come in. If that's the case, just let us know so that maybe we can do an override or, you know, figure out what's going on with your psych course. For gen ed number 11, physical science, any of those sciences will count for psychology as well, except for astronomy. So try to avoid astronomy. You can take physical science, physics, chemistry, one of the other chemistries. And that'll count not only for your gen eds, but for your psych major as well. So then you can get 2 sciences done with 1 class. For gen ed number 12, all psych majors need biology. So that's listed there. That's pretty much it for the gen eds. You'll also see on your degree audit your credit hours. Now, satisfying your general education program classes and your psych classes might not equal the 120 credit hours that you need to graduate. So that's something you'll want to check on your audit, is how many psych classes do you have left? How many credits are those? Say you have 50 psych credits left, 50 credits left, but you need 60 to graduate. Okay, well then you need to find 10 more credits of whatever it is that you want to take to meet that. So that's why some students will add a minor or certificate or take random elective classes or do internship for credit to meet those hours, whatever they might be. Because everybody's going to be a little different. You also do need 48 upper level credits. Those are the 3,000, 4,000 junior, senior level courses. So just make sure you're keeping an eye on that, especially if you transferred, like when I transferred, you want to take junior, senior level classes as much as possible. Your audit lists several GPAs. There's 3 main ones that I want you guys to pay attention to. The first one's going to be listed right under your credit hours. It's going to be the UCF GPA. That's all the credits that you've done at UCF. The one under that is going to be the overall GPA. That's all the credits you've done in all your colleges. So say you transferred or took transient classes or anything like that. That's going to show there. It's really great if your UCF GPA is stellar. Grad programs look at your last 60 hours, and typically, especially if you transferred, your last 60 hours is probably going to be your UCF GPA. And then I skipped some stuff on the audit because it's not something that our office advises on. So if there's anything that I went over too fast, like I said, you can email psych advising and we'll cover it. Or if there's something that you're like, hey, this says on my audit and you didn't talk about it in your presentation, you know, I'll tell you why. So feel free to email us for that. But now we're getting into the actual psych major requirements. So I get to talk all about this. This is everything for a psychology major student. So for the psychology Bachelor of Science, every student does need college level foreign language of level 2 or higher. So you'll see why it says just one course, because you need level 2. Some students took 3 or 4 years in high school, and so they can just jump into level 2 and meet the requirement with one class. We have a lot of students that are already fluent in another language, and so they can test out and meet the requirement with a test that's much cheaper, much faster than taking a class. Or if you've only done the 2 years in high school, or if you need a refresher, you want to learn a whole new language, you'll want to start with level 1 first, of course, and then you can take level 2. And I did just learn that for sign language, you do have to do level 1 before level 2. It's pretty difficult to just skip to level 2 like you can for the other languages. If you're not sure what level you should start off with, definitely talk to that professor. If you try and ask me what Spanish you should start with, I can't help you. I don't know any Spanish. I'm sorry. I need to learn it. Talk to the professor if you're not sure where you should start with your language class. But you do need level 1 and 2, or I'm sorry, just level 2. And since language classes are actually freshman level classes, you're going to want to get them done as soon as possible. Especially when you become a junior, senior, your time schedule is going to be busy with doing internships or more advanced classes. It's better to get these ones done during the gen eds, during the AA, if you can. I do have some students take their language or other gen ed courses at the state college, like as a transient. So you're a UCF student and you want to take a lower level class like language at Valencia or Seminole State or online with another college, great. You could totally do that. That's just called being a transient student. The next thing on the audit underneath the language is going to be the common program prerequisites. These are also repeated in the core requirements. So every psych major needs general psych and biology and statistics. For biology, a lot of our psych majors take the BSc 1005, biological principles or fundamental biology, whatever it's called, the lower level biology. The BSc 2010 or 1010 general biology is typically used for students that are going into a pre-health field or pre-med field, maybe pre-nursing, or a neuropsychology field. So if you know you're going to need more advanced science classes, then definitely try and do the BSc 2010C or 1010C for the basic biology. Statistics, on the other hand, psych is a stats-based field, so we do highly recommend that our psych majors take STA 2023 if they can. The prereq for 2023 is college algebra or finite math. We do recommend the 2023 if possible, because especially if your goal is to go into like IO psychology or get your doctorate in psychology, you're going to want the more advanced statistics. But if you know yourself, you're not really great with math, you need a bit of a slower pace with it, just do the STA 2014 C, or I think they got rid of the C, 2014, that's totally fine to meet your statistics. And then if later you change your mind, you're like, oh no, I definitely want to go into a research field, great, go take advanced research methods or some other statistics classes to help show off that you actually can handle stats. Next, we're getting into the core. So all psych majors need to take all these courses. A lot of students already take developmental psych or lifespan psych prior to coming to UCF, or usually in their first couple years. So that's great. It's a lower level class. You can take that whenever if you haven't taken it yet. Cognitive psych, you can honestly take whenever you want, unless you're really interested in cognitive psych, take it sooner then. Physiological psych, you could take whenever. I personally recommend that you finish your biology first, if you can. Physio psych is a prereq for neuropsych, so if you are interested in the neuro field, try and get that done. And then social psych, you can take that one whenever. That one's up towards the bottom there. But for Career 1, Psychology Career 1, PSY 3024, you will want to take that sooner than later. It's supposed to do it in your first semester as a psych major. It is a 2-credit class, so make sure you're balancing your schedule if you need to be at full-time or part-time status for financial aid. And then in your second semester being a psych major, then you'll take Career 2. All psych majors, after they do statistics, are going to then next take stats in psychology. And after stats in psychology is research methods in psychology. Those courses kind of build on top of each other. So it's definitely recommended to try and take them consecutively as much as possible. And you do have to take them in that order. I always get that question. Can I take them together? And the answer is no. And my response is also, why would you want to? unless you really love stats, but no, you do have to take them in order. Because stats in psych and research methods in psych are 4 credits, I do recommend they're great to pair with Career 1 and then Career 2. So have like a balanced schedule with those courses. And then all psych majors need to choose a diversity elective. There's 4 options to choose from. They're great options. I took cross-cultural psych myself. It honestly doesn't matter which class you choose whichever means the most to you or fits your schedule. And then everyone does need to choose a track. Now, when you're graduating with this degree, your diploma is going to say Bachelor of Science in Psychology. It's actually not going to list your track. That's something you'll put on your own resume, and it'll be in your transcripts. So honestly, the track that you choose doesn't matter. Choose what interests you the most. What are you most interested in as far as electives? So these electives are the same electives across the board. It's still 4 if you're in the 2017 or 2018 catalog, or 5 if you're in the 2019 or 2020 catalog. And so it depends on what catalog year, how many, if you're doing 4 or 5. So check your audit for that and ask us if you have questions. So I'm going to cover each of the tracks so you can see which one you might be most interested in. Clinical track is a very popular track. It's about the study, diagnosis, and treatment of mental, emotional, and behavioral disorders. Typically, when you're thinking of a psychologist, you're probably thinking of a clinical psychologist. For this track, you do need abnormal psych and 4 of the electives. Unless you're in the older catalog, then it's abnormal psych and 3 of the electives. If you took abnormal psych somewhere else, we'll use it as long as you passed. So let us know if it's not showing on your audit, we'll fix that. And then especially if you took abnormal psych and you're trying to sign up for like clinical or child psych, we'll help you with that too with an override. So just reach out to psych advising and we'll assist you with that. So that's the clinical track. We have the industrial organizational psych track. That's about understanding productivity, management, and employee working styles to improve the quality of life related to workplace. So having people happy with where they work. I like my job. You need to take the IO Psych class and 4 of the electives there. For the human factors track, this is also called engineering psychology. This is, hold on, I gotta move you guys, you're in my way. There we go. About applying human behavior to design and use of products, systems, tools, and environments for comfortable human use. This track requires the human factors class and 4 of the electives there. The neuroscience track is this understanding how our brain affects our cognitive function and behavior. For that track, you need the neuropsych class. And like I mentioned before, you'll want to take physio psych first before then you do your neuro. And then you need 4 of the electives listed. And the experimental track doesn't have a specific one. It's just any of those 5 electives. Experimental psychology focuses on the design, analysis, and dissemination of research through experimentation related to behavior. So basically it's about research related to human behavior. So especially if you want your PhD, you're going to focus on research. That's a good track. And then if you're not sure which track you want to do, or if you like all those tracks, or you like 2 of the tracks, mix them up and just do the general track. That's any 5 psych classes. There might be some classes that we offer at UCF that might not fit into a track. I was going to say like the human-animal interaction class. I don't think. Oh no, it counts for human factors. But still, say you like the different classes that we have, then you can just do the general track. So that's probably our next most popular one for students that are kind of on the fence for a couple tracks, or they want to combine because they like clinical, but they like neuro and they want to do both. Cool, the general track is great for that. So again, there's no wrong answer for the track that you choose. If you don't know yet, you can just start with the general and then change it later. You have until you apply to graduation to change your track. Now for the track, if you choose a track and you're not sure what classes count, it'll show on that interactive audit. So your audit will actually list out these classes and you can actually click on them and enroll from your degree audit. So that's really cool. If you want a list of all of the classes that we offer in the psych department, you can email us, but it's also on the front page of our website. So I'll show you that too. After the track, you do still need 2 science classes. Remember we talked about the Gen Ed number 11, as long as you don't do astronomy, if you do one of those other physical science or chemistries, one of those will count, and then you'll just need another science. So besides biology, you need 2 more sciences. So we're bachelor science, so at least 3 sciences is what you're going to be taking. The ones that are highlighted were the ones that were online previously. Of course, that might change now that kind of everything's online nowadays. It doesn't matter what sciences you choose. It's up to you, whatever you like. You might have seen the word math in there. I purposely didn't say it because most of my psych majors just do science classes. You don't need to do a math class if you don't want to. Some students already did calculus prior to changing their major to psych. Or if you really do want your PhD, I always recommend the Stats 1 and Stats 2 math classes for this. But it's entirely up to you and what you want to take. And then the last class on the degree audit is Capstone. Psychology Capstone you're going to take probably in your last semester. Sometimes it's not always your last. It might be like your second to last. But you do have to either have completed or be enrolled in physiopsych, research methods, and history and systems to take Capstone. So I always get the question of how come I'm not able to enroll in Capstone? It's like, well, it's because you're waitlisted for history and systems. You have to actually be enrolled in it or in the other 2. All of those need to be done or enrolled in before you can enroll into Capstone. Just like Career 1 and 2, it's S or U graded, so it doesn't affect your GPA. It's also only 2 credits. So just keep that in mind when you're registering for that class. That's pretty much all the psych classes. Let me see, was there anything else I wanted to address with you guys? I think that was mainly it. So again, here's the interactive audit that we looked at earlier. I'm trying to skip through the gen eds. There's a lot of gen eds. Credit hours. And then the psych requirements, just so you can see that. Again, if you have any questions, reach out to us. But now I wanted to take the time to look at some of the chat. There's a lot of chat I see. And to answer any general questions. Or feel free if you want to unmute yourself if you have a question that we can probably answer for everybody. It looks like Alex and Angela have been doing a good job keeping up with everybody. Nicole has a great question. What is the course list for university reporting only section? So I can show you that on the back of this audit. So at the bottom of the audit, it has this university reporting only. This does not pertain to you guys as students at all. Completely ignore that section. I can explain it for you if you want, but I will, just because I like to give you more answers than not. It doesn't, you don't need to enroll anything. That's what it says right here. Do not enroll anything. If something's missing, if it says not satisfied, ignore it. It's gonna get fixed before graduation. This is just a way that UCF's keeping track of what majors are taking courses outside the major that's not needed for their degree. So especially if you like changed majors, you're gonna have a lot more listed here. Same with like the list of like courses not being used. Just because it's listed there doesn't mean it's not being used. It actually is counting towards your 120 credit hours. So it is being used, it's counting towards your GPA, your 120 hours. So just ignore the course list for university reporting only. Let's see, any other good questions? Kaylee asked a good question. I think she was already answered, but just so everyone knows, yes, if you are doing your gen ed classes and your psych classes and you don't reach 120 credit hours, that's where you can add a minor or certificate or do an internship or just take rando classes, whatever you want to do to meet your 120 hours to get your bachelor's degree.
I actually have a question.
Go ahead.
I was wondering, once you pass 120 credits, are you able to still like get a minor or something, put a minor into it? Will like the system let you like over technically just have more than
yes, you can go over the 120. It's just a money problem. And a timeline problem. Like if you're going over 120, that means you're going past your time for graduation. And that could be an issue with the financial aid that you receive. If you get a scholarship that only pays for 120 hours, then
Like Bright Futures,
yeah. And then excess hours. You guys want to watch out for excess hours where you're going to be paying out of state tuition prices if you exceed that excess hour number. Typically that number is 132, but everybody's different. So definitely look for that on your audit if you're reaching that.
Thank you.
Israel asks, is there an amount of certificates you can get? You can do as many minor certificates, anything at all that you want to do. It's just back to Angela's question of, can you go over that 120? If you're going over that 120, you might have a money problem. That's the only concern I would say with taking that on. Go ahead.
In terms of money problem and like, financial aid and all that, you'd recommend like probably reaching out to UCF financial aid office?
Yes, financial aid will answer any specific questions about your aid. Everybody gets different aids. We all have different scholarships and grants. So definitely reach out to them about how that affects you. And then if you have questions about the excess hours, you can see your excess hours on my ECF. Remember the degree audit, where I got the degree audit under the other academic, there's an excess hour button there too. So you can see your excess hours. Let's see, looks like most questions have been answered. Well, that's a good question. I've never heard of that. So student asks, there's a pending advisor meeting on their audit. I've never seen that before. Send me a screenshot. Just reach out to Psych Advising. We'll figure it out. There's not usually ever like a required advisor meeting. If you're looking at your Pegasus path, it always recommends that you talk to your advisor each semester, especially the closer you get to graduation, because we want to make sure that you understand when you're going to graduate on time. But even then, everything's virtual and digital, even before this, but even especially now, we can assist you probably through email. Let's see. So on Monday, I'm doing a webinar for Pegasus Path. So if you have any questions about that, we can talk about it on Monday. Or of course, like I said, you can email Psych Advising. I think all our other questions were answered. Anybody else have any other questions that they might have? No? Okay, cool. Well, like I said, please reach out to Psych Advising. Morgan and myself will answer you as fast as we can. We're actually caught up, unlike some other offices on campus. So we can actually respond to you in a timely manner. Just send us an email. And then if you do need a one-on-one Zoom, we can set that up too. Okay. Thank you guys all for coming. I really appreciate it. And have a good weekend. All right. Bye, guys.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye.
Have a great weekend, everyone.
Thank
Take care. Be
you.
safe.